Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. UWI hosted a research festival and Principals Research Awards last week, and this morning I have Professor Christine Carrington, Head of the Department of Preclinical Sciences, and Professor Durasamy Saravana Kumar, Director of Graduate Studies and Research and Professor of Plant Pathology. Welcome back to the show, Professor, and welcome and congratulations to you, Professor Carrington.
Thank you.
I understand that you would have won the Principals Research Awards, but we'll get to that a little bit later. First of all, Professor Sarav, I want to just give me a recap. How did it go? Because, I mean, we spoke about it, we were preparing for it, we were excited about it. How was it from your perspective?
Okay, good morning, everyone, and thanks for hosting us. And it really went very, very well. And we had diverse research of students and as well as the staff who exhibited a lot of things. And also we had the presentations, technical presentations, including the oral presentation and poster presentations, and also the panel discussions inviting the industries and also the state and government bodies. So it really went very, very well, and our staff and students, they were much excited. Nice. And we were very happy to be here again to report what went and how that gone. Yeah.
Was there anything in particular that stood out to you during the course of the whole festival?
Is really, you know, is difficult for me to single out a project because so many presentations and over 170 research outcomes we have received from the staff and students, and that was actually presented in different formats. But if you ask me some of the specific things that actually stood out, one is actually the UWI asphalt sealants as well as the lubricants, which could be used for commercial purposes, not only in the region, but even it can be used globally. So that is one of the things that we are thinking to commercialize. And also the a lot of research findings from the Cocoa Research Center about the elite cocoa varieties as well as the germplasms, which has a high chocolate value as well as the pest and disease resistant varieties. So that type of research has come out. And in addition to that, also some of the biopesticides, which is also ready for commercialization. Okay. So these are all some of the things that I could state here. But at the same time, we have plenty research findings from our students and staff.
All right. So, Professor Carrington, I want to jump across to you now. Let me say congratulations. Of course, you were one of the standout as Best Researcher Award.
Yes.
Tell me first of all about the field that you've been doing work in, and how does it feel to receive the award?
Okay, so I am a virologist. So my area is viruses, and the focus of my group has always been on factors that determine how viruses emerge, how they spread, and you know how they're maintained. So what's underlying the patterns, the sort of epidemic patterns.
And also you had a time during COVID, didn't you?
Well, exactly. Right. Yeah. So so we've been doing research not just on SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 virus, but we've done research on dengue and chikungunya in the past, rabies virus. So it's a variety of things. And the award was really for a body of work over 5 years, and it was a great honor to receive the award. The award for Best Researcher. I mean, it's an honor and it's a privilege, and I think that. For me, it's more about focusing on putting that spotlight on what the university has to offer, rather than singling out a person and stuff. I mean, it's nice to get it, but but it's about the research. It's about, I mean, you don't do this research by yourself, so it's a team effort.
Of course.
The expertise we have, the opportunities for, you know, collaboration and development.
Tell me about some of the things that would have stood out to you in doing some of this research, like over the 5-year period they're talking about that you got the award for. What were some of the things that stood out that you know made you go, wow, I didn't even know, or you know, something like that, something that stood out to you in a big way as a researcher?
So I mean, I've been in this area for a long time, and I think one of the things that you know, I'm a basic researcher. So basic research means that you're looking at understanding the fundamentals of a particular area, right, rather than focusing on a particular application or problem. It's not applied research. Right. And one of the things that stood out for me is that through our basic research, which a lot of people sort of say, why the hell they're studying, you know, virus evolution? What that have to do with anything, right?
We learn why.
And then, so what stood out for me is when the, you know, we're faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, suddenly you saw that work that was being done that people had deemed, you know, some people had deemed, you know, not so important, was suddenly important, and not just the the research findings, but the skills that we had developed
Right.
and the capacity that we developed in the labs. We had some of the, not everything we needed at the time, but we had equipment, we had skilled students, we had skilled technicians, so we were ready through our basic research to tackle, an
Anything else
immediate
that
problem.
comes, yeah.
An immediate problem. So you don't know where the solutions are going to come from, and that was a sort of not a revelation, but it was good.
It's like a eureka moment. It's like justification and vindication for all the work that you've been doing. It's like, all right, now you guys realize how important this work is.
Finally, we're useful. But I mean, there are other researchers at UWI who are doing much more applied research, as you've heard, that is sort of ready for commercialization, solving immediate problems. But you don't know where the solutions are going to come from all the time.
But it's important that we realize the value of the research. Is that part of the reason why you wanted to put together this festival in the first place?
That's true, because we wanted to look at what are the basic research as well as the applied research as well. Because as Professor Carrington said, always, the basic research is very important to understand what is happening inside the mechanism or the processes or algorithms and all of those things. And once we have that, then we will have a better understanding when disaster like COVID happened, and we know, okay, what is happening with the virus and how to detect the variants, and so many things we could be able to do it, and without, again going back to study what happened there, and that will take a lot of time by the time, everything has been collapsed. So it is very important to understand the basics. At the same time, also, we may have some of the outputs which would have the potential for commercialization. So in that case, we also have to look at that as well, because the university nowadays, it has a scarce resource as well as the funding opportunity. So in that case, how we can be sustainable on our own through revenue revolution, which is one of our AAA strategies as well.
Okay.
So that's how we are trying to engage our stakeholders, be it government agencies or the civil society organizations or the industries, including the food and beverages or manufacturing or engineering industries,
right,
or even the social or educational institutes which are interested in networking with us,
right,
so that they will understand what type of research is going on in UWI, and that will actually help them to come to us to network as well as support through the research funding. So that is very important for us.
And the students, I'm seeing lots of students showing up here too, which means that they are also the next generation of researchers that we're preparing as well.
That's true.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add that we also have to recognize that when people think of research, they often go immediately to the sciences.
Right.
But there's research also happening in the humanities, where and without that research, we can't sort of deal with things like the consequences of COVID-19, the social sciences, the economics of what's happened, how people react in a crisis. All of that is important. So it's not just about science and technology. There are solutions also, and a lot of work to be done in the humanities, in the social sciences. So it's sort of, we have to consider it very holistically.
Yeah, and I realize that oftentimes we don't think of that back end. Everybody likes to see the front and shiny part of it, but nobody likes to look at the research and the work that goes into how do we get this idea to make sense in the first place before we can even start the application process.
Certainly, because with respect to policies and practices and issues in case of social, cultural, educational, and gender and justice, and all of these things, we may think what type of research is going to take place in the social or cultural issues, because we need to find out what's happening and whether that policy or practice is working or not, and if not, then what should be done, and some of the suggestions should be given to the governments or the civil society organizations, which is very, very important as well.
Has that partnership been taking place between the government and civil society and the university?
So that's what, the triple helix model we would like to emphasize, and we would like to bring everyone on board so that it is not the universities alone doing its own research and the government is actually, spending its resources with their staff. So we would like to have that. That's not a new one, but still, we wanted to strengthen that collaboration with all the stakeholders. So that is one of the reasons that we have actually set out 6 different themes, starting from agri-food technologies for food and nutrition security, and the climate change adaptation and mitigation and disaster management, and also the science, technology, solutions for sustainability, and also social cultural issues, policies for sustainable environment. So we have actually set out all of those things. And one of the most important thing is nowadays communication technologies, including digital technologies and artificial intelligence. You would have heard about cybersecurity challenges and issues. And when I was there listening to some of our students and research presentations, and they have some of the solutions, and they're saying, how this could be mitigated,
Right.
because it's a high risk when it comes to the cybersecurity. So the research is being done. So probably we need to connect where is the need and what we are doing, and how that can be connected, and which could bring sustainable solutions to such problems.
Nice. And this seems to be the way forward that you plan to take this research festival, to be able to make more of these connections happen, to make more of the application happen between the actual people who are in the industry and the researchers. Yeah?
Yeah, yes. We had a panel discussion where we invited the industries, and of course we had the exhibits, and a lot of our stakeholders they visited. And in addition to that, within the internal stakeholders, we would like to have that interaction takes place, because we have multi-diverse faculties, humanities, food and agriculture, science and technology, medical sciences, law, all of the faculties. But at the same time, sometimes they will be doing their own research, especially the COVID has limited the human interactions.
Right.
And after this COVID pandemic, we would like to bring everyone together so that they will discuss each other, and they will know what is happening in the Faculty of Humanities or in other faculties, Faculty of Engineering, so that they will be able to go and see how multidisciplinary research can take place, and that could bring sustainable solutions to the environment, and also it could improve the life.
Most
so
definitely.
That's one of the important things that we thought. And it is quite successful, and you could see the excitement of the staff, students, and the visitors, and it was excellent.
We've definitely seen some of it in those clips that we've been running there. But Professor Carrington, tell me about some of the challenges that you would have encountered during your research.
Okay, so as I've been in research for a bit of a while now, and there's been quite a few challenges. Funding, we always need money. So that is always a challenge, trying to get the resources to carry out the types of work that we want to do. And of course, things like the also linked to funding, the facilities that we need, the lab, you tend to outgrow your lab. When you do get the funding and you get the equipment, then you outgrow your lab, so you need a lab space. So that's always a challenge, getting funding and resources. I think during the pandemic, one of the challenges was logistics. So you know how difficult it was with the place shut down and everything. So getting materials in, that was challenging. But we found solutions, and we learned that through these challenges, we learned that the most important thing is communicating with all the stakeholders and getting people to understand what you're doing and why it's important. And once we were able to do that, things started to flow more quickly. And
now, one of the interesting things is that the Principal Research Awards is meant to inspire others in the academic community. Yeah. What advice would you give to somebody who's coming up and saying, I want to get into research, I want to have meaningful impact with my work? What advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing I'd tell them is that they need to, when you're doing research, when you're doing a PhD, for example, you need to have some sort of passion and real interest and love for this thing. It's not an easy thing to do, so you have to love it first. So you have to be true to yourself, and you have to focus on an area that you are excited about. That's the first thing. But then even within that, I think you have to find the angle that, because all areas of research are important and they have applications, and you have to spend some time finding the angle that is going to bring your research to, to the point where it is helpful to the society. It can be a very local society, a small community, it can be the whole country, it can be the region, and globally, So I think find your passion, find the area you're interested in, try and find the angle that works for our setting, and I think also it's very important to find the right mentors and supervisors and things like that. That's very important.
I
think that's great advice. Find passion and find great mentors. I think that's definitely...
That's what actually our campus leadership, principal as well as the Vice Chancellor, Professor Rosemary Bell Antoine, trying to facilitate that platform for our researchers and staff, because that will motivate our staff and students to go beyond what should be done.
Well, let me take a moment to say congratulations to you both. Firstly, on the festival, and of course on the award.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, and please, we look forward to more of it, because I think the collaboration is very, very important, like you said. And of course, we need more research to be done so that we can be more informed as we go into the future, whatever form that takes. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
And thank you so much for having us.
Not a problem at all. Guys, we take a quick break and come back with more inside the Now Morning Show. Stick around.